Anderson Cooper on the road to rescue, all next week, 10 p.m. Eastern.
It seems like everybody's got their hand out these days, so when a governor says thanks but no thanks to doling out $700 billion in federal stimulus money, we take notice. Last night, we told you how Governor Mark Sanford of South Carolina is doing just that. And today, national political correspondent Jessica Yellen tells us how his decision is a huge disappointment for one little girl who captured the nation's attention when she called on Congress to save her crumbling school. Jessica Yellen is following the money in Columbia, South Carolina.
The second floor has been condemned.
Taishioma Bethea felt she had to speak up. Her school was crumbling, and Congress was not going to approve money that could be used to rebuild it. She wrote a letter to lawmakers begging for help.
I said that we are not quitters, and we as students from Dillon can make a change, and that we're just students trying to become lawyers, doctors, congressmen, and also presidents.
The letter made its way to the Oval Office and brought an extraordinary invitation. The White House sat Taishioma right next to Michelle Obama at the president's address to Congress. It seemed help was on the way. New stimulus money was coming from Washington, and Taishioma thought her school, J.V. Martin, would finally be rebuilt. Now she doesn't know what to think. Her governor, Mark Sanford, just announced he won't use his share of the stimulus money on projects like rebuilding Taishioma's school.
It's easy to fall in the trap of we need to fix this one school. The hat that I wear is to look as best I can, and it will be imperfect, at the state in its entirety.
Taking a stand against government spending, Sanford says he'd only be willing to use the $700 million to pay down the state debt. That means Taishioma's community is left with its crumbling school. She gave us a tour. It's astonishing. The auditorium has been condemned. They use the stage for storage.
It has been condemned for a while, and the walls are starting to peel off, and stuff are starting to fall out the ceiling.
She says the coach cancels basketball games when it rains.
The roof leaks water through the small cracks on the top of the roof.
And the old trailers have walls so thin, the teacher has to pause whenever a train rolls by.
Okay, the train is coming, so I have to stop.
That happens about 5 times a day.
The school is in an area that's been called the Corridor of Shame, a stretch of highway with neighborhoods that are enormously poor and largely African American. Some critics say that, quite simply, the state does not want to spend money educating black kids.
South Carolina Congressman James Clyburn is outraged the governor won't spend stimulus money in this community.
It is a slap in the face of the people who live in those counties. Now, if a majority of the people who live in those counties happen to be African American, it's a slap in their faces as well.
Sanford flatly rejects the charge.
Spending money that you don't have, I think, is a horrible idea.
His office points out state lawmakers could rebuild J.V. Martin with their own funds. Taishioma says she just wants the squabbling to end.
I think that the politicians should be giving advice to me as a student instead of me giving advice to a politician as just a little girl from Dillon.
You know, Jessica, you see the pictures of that school, and it really is unbelievable. Do they have any chance of getting money from wherever in order to rebuild it?
Well, they do have a chance, Campbell. They tried to raise money locally by businesses, but because the economy collapsed, that effort hit a brick wall. So now they have to hope that Washington will determine that the governor cannot legally use the stimulus money to pay down their debt. That is likely to happen. Then, though, state lawmakers would have to vote to overrule the governor's decision and spend the money. All of that, Campbell, would take some time, and obviously these people are looking for a solution now.
No kidding. It's a pretty desperate situation there. Jessica Yellen for us from South Carolina tonight. Jessica, thanks very much. Michelle Obama.